live from our studio. Time to jump into the podcast. Hello and welcome to Paradise. You are listening to Green Dudes, the only Green Day podcast that matters. You are here with me. I'm your host, Connor Mack, and I'm here with my best pal in the Green Day verse, my Green Day comrade in arms, my BFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFFF my esteemed business partner, Mr. Connor Kelly.
Hello, hello, hello. The accolades never get old. It really
Hey,
pumps
well,
me up to do the podcast.
you are the man that lives up to all of those uh um you know all of those titles. You really
Yeah,
do. It's like
yeah,
if you were if you lived in the UK, you would be knighted probably for all the accomplishments under your belt.
yeah. I hope one day you can add that to this growing list that I
Yeah.
will be like Sir Connor Kelly.
Yes, Sir Connor Kelly. That would be. Do they do that for non-British folk?
Um, I don't think they do, but like I think under like really extraordinary circumstances, they
Yeah.
might.
Like if there was a war on or something.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Like if I like saved England, you
Yeah.
know, I think they'd have to.
So
Yeah,
I just want to kind of expand on that like quickly here. So
yeah,
just in this war, because we're let's be real on like
yeah.
we are on the brink of war
There's
here.
a there's wars going on.
There's yes,
Yeah,
there are there's a few wars going on right here. So I mean, it takes one spark to light this puppy up, and then the whole thing's on fire, and everything's like
mhm,
everyone's kind of at war, and
right.
uh Britain obviously is a part. They're that they would be playing up, because if we say, if Mr. Trump says Prince King Charles, sorry,
Yeah,
King
right.
Charles,
Yeah.
sorry, uh you need to join us in this war for democracy.
Hmm.
He just
Yeah.
gives him the
Big
wink for
big wink there.
democracy.
Big wink there. Yep.
Um, King Charles would be like, yes, sir, of course, yes. What
Hmm.
can I do? So they're fighting beside us,
Right.
um, and somehow you're too old for the draft, so you wouldn't be drafted at this point
Yeah.
unless things get really bad and they have to draft the elderly.
I yeah, I guess, right? If there's like a geriatric draft,
Yeah.
then I might be called into service. Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully things don't get that bad, but I think it's probably more likely that like our podcast during wartime, like you know, because podcasting is a young man's game in a lot of ways. Like the big ones on
Yeah.
YouTube and like there's a lot of young. So maybe all those young podcasters die, and like we're like some of the only ones that are left,
Right. We're
and
not
so we
just
get really popular.
we're not just the only Green Day podcast that matters. We become the only podcast that matters.
Yeah, yeah, maybe like one of the only podcasts.
Yeah.
Because everyone else just died because of
Right.
war. Um,
And we preach a message of love and de-escalation,
yes,
of
exactly.
of
Yep,
worldwide harmony and coming together.
yep, exactly.
And our podcast, along, who knows, because it's like if Trump's getting us in the war, maybe Taylor Swift is going to get us out of it.
I mean, honestly, Connor, this has been a long road for us. We have been on the cutting edge of this. We've been on the
Mhm,
pulse for since the beginning, really. So I think it's plausible in this potential future that like
mhm.
yeah, our podcast saves the world. We broker the peace that ends this devastating war. And I think, yeah, obviously T Swift is going to be. I mean, at that point, she would probably guest on the podcast because there's just like no other podcasts to guest on. So
Right.
I think this is likelier than
And
we initially thought.
if all of those things come to pass, there's no way they're not going to knight me. They're
Of
not. They're
course,
not going to
no,
say like, "Oh, well, you're just a bloody American, ain't
no,
you?" They're going to say, "Wow,
that's an
uh,
easy knighting.
thank God you were around, and we're old and
Yeah,
frail and just
exactly.
useless enough to have to use your seemingly useless talents
Uh
for the
huh.
greater good.
It's like, I think they'd preface it being like, in any other scenario you would be the furthest person from away from knighthood, but in
Right.
this,
Yeah. That's
you somehow you made it here, and we are
Yep.
thankful.
Yep.
um and of
So let's
course,
see. I don't know. Put it on the
well,
bingo card.
they'd ask me to be knighted as well, but I mean, I would refuse just because morally I actually am not
Right.
a fan of the monarchy.
Oh, okay.
But that's
Gotcha.
just me, so
Yeah.
I'm
It's
not
just
speaking for
this
you or
start. It
anything.
just kind of makes me feel like, okay, so this is like a tacit endorsement now. Like I'm like this insane fucking scenario of like me getting now I'm pro monarchy. Is that like
Well,
where you're gonna
I mean,
spin
I don't
this?
know.
Like
I don't know. I mean,
okay,
you're the one that accepted
all right.
the knighting, the
I
knighthood.
didn't know it was gonna be under these circumstances when we started, but I don't.
Well,
I still don't think I would turn down a knighthood. I mean, that's a hard
yeah,
thing to
it
say no
is.
to. So
No, I'm. I mean, who am I kidding? I would love King Charles to touch me with his little sword.
yeah, yeah. Who
You
wouldn't?
know.
But
Um.
who knows if he'll even still be around? By then it might be.
Oh, I can't imagine him surviving an actual war, like just the
Yeah,
stress of having to deal with that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not
I
sure
think
he's the
there's,
one to
yeah.
do it, but
Anyways, Connor, what's going on today? How's it going?
oh man, it's going good. It's going good. It's getting gooder. Every
Wow,
day.
getting
Got to
gooder.
admit, it's getting gooder. It's getting gooder all the time.
That's a great song.
Yeah,
By hey, those boys in that band. Uh,
English.
what?
they're English.
They're
English
English, yeah.
boys. I thought that's where you were going with that.
No, well, they are. I mean, at least Sir Paul McCartney is he's knighted.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if Ringo is.
You would think they would have knighted them all, but
Yeah. Well, two of them are dead.
I'm aware, Connor. Okay. I'm just saying, like, either they would have eventually been knighted, or maybe there's like
Yeah.
a posthumous knighting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Are the
I don't know
Beatles
either.
knighted? Anyways, um, it's getting gooder all the time. John Lennon initially accepted and then returned his MBE, which is like I think that's like the level below knighthood for
Huh.
services to music. So John Lennon is the only one with a moral backbone here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you're kind of following in old Lennon's footsteps, huh?
And
You're like knighthood, no way.
George Harrison's not knighted as well. I think he also I don't know if he refused, but let's see let's see what it says.
Or no, it's just no one ever thought to knight him. Yeah.
No, 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 no. He also declined to accept.
Mm.
Damn, because I mean, I'm just saying. I think that says a lot, doesn't it? It's kind of like you and me. You're kind of like the McCartney. I'm kind of like the Lennon.
I don't know if that's. I mean, it depends on the situation, I think. But
Yeah, I mean, in this situation with the knighthood and everything.
okay, gotcha. Because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm the one with the beard and the round glasses right now. Is all I'm
Okay,
saying.
that's actually a great point. I
But
think you just destroyed my argument.
yeah. Well,
with
anyways,
facts and logic.
how are you? How are you doing, man? You doing all
I'm
right?
good. I woke up just a little bit ago. I woke up late today.
Yeah.
The last few days I have been really having trouble with sleeping during the day because I woke up on Saturday. I woke up because I get home at like 7:30 in the morning. Usually I'm asleep by 9 or 8:30.
Yeah.
But on Saturday and Sunday, I had to wake up at like noon, so I only got a couple. Well, I meant to get a couple hours of sleep, but I just like really struggled with it because on Saturday I went to the ironically enough, the No Kings protest.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah.
I mean, that actually says a lot. That
It
you know
says a lot. It says a
that says a
lot
lot.
about how you would have returned your
Yeah, you know,
victimhood. Yeah,
it
definitely.
actually does.
Go on.
So I went to that. That was cool. And then on Sunday I did Father's Day with I saw my grandfather for Father's Day,
Yeah.
and so my sleep is all fucked up. It's been really bad. It's been
Yeah.
really fucking bad the last couple of days.
It's
But
it's
this
too bad.
morning,
It's too bad we're not about to talk about brain stew
oh,
instead.
I know you're right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, buddy.
No, no,
Just,
but this morning I got back and I took this thing, Pain Quill. You ever hear of Pain Quill?
No, I know about NyQuil. I know about
I know.
Dayquil. I don't know if Painquil's real. Where
This is a
you
new
get
one.
that from a back alley?
We just discovered it. It's Pain Quill. It's like a pain reliever slash Nyquil.
Right. It's a painkiller.
It's a painkiller. So I took that in the morning, and they knocked me out. And yeah, I woke up a little bit late.
Okay. There's got to be like other like uh like more well established sleep medication. There's a million sleep medications you could take, dude. You don't have to take fucking Painquil to help
No,
you
no, it's kind
sleep.
of.
You could take fucking melatonin.
I do have melatonin. I do, but it doesn't. It doesn't always do that. It's not strong enough for what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
The last couple of days.
I think you like to try weird off-brand shit because you're that way with soda too. You'll be like, "Oh, hey,
Yeah,
you ever heard of a Summit Cola?
yeah, I
You
do.
ever heard like you just like to find like the most like niche under the radar off-brand weirdo fucking drinks. And Connor, it's one thing for a soft drink, but when you're putting medication into your body, man, you might want to think twice.
Well, I mean, it's all. I'm just kind of like an adventurer. I like to experiment. I say it's easy come, easy go.
Yeah, it kind of like in my mind, it sounds like you're taking like a gas station sleeping pill. Like
Yeah, you would think that. I mean, this is literally Painquill. It's literally made by the Nyquil people, and we got it at CVS. So,
okay,
um,
a reputable distributor.
yes, yeah. So, hopefully, I won't need it again, but I did the trick.
Mm.
So, anyways, yeah. So I'm feeling okay. A little bit still waking up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty good. I'm excited today because I woke up and two cool things have happened today that I didn't really think about before I went to sleep. But new Sloan album announced.
Oh,
Sloan,
okay,
Canada's power pop
that's right.
princes.
Yeah.
New Sloan album out. So in September, new single came out. It's fucking really good.
Is that
Um,
when was their last album?
2022, so not
2022.
too long
Okay.
ago. But
Wow, 3 years out of the Sloan Zone.
yes, yeah, now we're back, baby. Um, and then Connor,
Yeah.
new Motion City soundtrack record
What?
officially to be announced tomorrow. But
What?
I went to New Zealand and I heard the single in
Okay.
September as well. Announced coming out in September. It's called "The Same Old Wasted Wonderful World."
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I
new
kind of
single is awesome.
I kind of thought that we were on the cusp of a new Motion City soundtrack record because that I like just like very casually. I've been following them on Instagram for years and years and years and years
Yeah.
since like 2015 or something. Um, but I don't really look at their posts anymore. But it's like I felt like they had just been like posting so much. I'm like, they got to be doing something. They can't just be
Yeah.
doing reunion shows and shit.
No, yeah, they posted when they were in the studio, like I think
Right.
late last year too. So we kind of knew it
Yeah.
was happening. But finally, it's like they've been reunited for like a long time now, since like 2019 or something, maybe even
Right.
2018 actually. So I'm super excited. The new song is it's good.
Sweet.
I'm happy. So
Sweet.
yeah, that's exciting. Oh, and fucking to top it all off, to bring it all back around to Green Day here. I'm not sure if you saw, but last night Green Day played a festival in Italy, the Firenze. Is it called Firenze? Firenze?
Yeah.
The Firenze Festival.
Yeah.
They played a really cool set. They played Murder City. They played 80. They did snippets of 86 and At the Library. They played JAR, I think.
Sweet.
A lot of cool songs added to the set.
Yeah. That is cool. Good for Italy.
Yeah, yeah, good for though. I mean,
That is a really cool set, man. Murder City,
I
80.
know it's been a long time since
Yeah,
they.
that would have been really cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. So I don't know. That's me. Those are the things I get excited about.
Yeah,
Today, though,
yeah.
Connor,
That
we
that and
are
that and Painquill
that in Pain Quill. Yeah,
and
you should try
Summit
it.
Cola.
You should give it a shot.
Yeah,
Instead of like drinking those beers, sometimes you drink.
they
Maybe
do.
just
Yeah.
take a shot of Pain Quill and see how you
Oh,
feel.
but today I'm drinking water. I'm not. It's
Okay.
not every time. I'm not just like Pavloved into having a beer every time I sit down to
Yeah. No, of
podcast.
course
I
not.
can podcast sober.
Oh, I know.
So
We got we're the Water Boys today. Look at that.
Water Boys. You ever see
Water
that movie
Boys.
with Adam Sandler? Water
Yeah,
Boys.
of course.
your,
What
your
is
face
his
was your face was like, that's such a dumb question. You're like, when I grew up. You think I didn't see the Water Boy? That's what your
well,
face said to me.
can you remind me what his voice sounds like in that movie?
Oh, I'm the
Yeah.
Water Boy.
All right, thanks. Yeah, that jogged my memory.
Wait a
I
minute, you're
appreciate that.
making fun of me? You're making fun
Yeah.
of me? I'm the Water Boy. And then he
Here we
just like
go. Yeah.
he runs at
Yeah.
like fucking 80 miles an hour, just like
Yeah.
blasts through some poor 90s jock. Yeah.
Yes, classic scene. Classic scene.
Yeah, good stuff.
Kathy Bates in that movie, right?
Kathy Bates in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she kind of talks the same way. She's like, I'm Kathy Bates.
She does. Yeah.
I'm Adam Sandler's mom, probably. I don't know. Wait
Yeah,
a
I
minute.
feel like
You're not thinking of Angus, are you?
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like is that the same character? The same
Yeah.
mom character?
Right. Was Kathy Bates typecast as
90s mom?
90s mom? And yeah.
I feel like, yeah. And then she kind of pivoted into like horror mom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like her new typecast.
Right. Well, from one mom to another.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, today on the podcast we were talking about the Green Day song off of the renowned album Insomniac. This is track number 3 off of Insomniac, Stuck With Me. This song is a single? Question mark?
Is it kind of like a single, like the way She was a single off of Dookie? Is it kind of like that?
That's a good question. Yeah, because it's weird. It's like it doesn't
Because we
really
really
have the
on this one
traction.
we have. I thought it's Geek Stink Breath, uh,
Brain
Brain
stew.
Stew, and Walking Contradiction.
Yeah, that's
Right?
what I think too. It seems, according to all my sources here, it is like a proper single. It has a music video and everything. So I don't like. She doesn't have a video.
Right. Right.
which is I was going to ask you because we watched the video and listened to the song right before we recorded. Did you remember that the song had a video?
No, I was
Yeah.
surprised by that. I was kind of wondering, honestly. Is this just using old footage? I was like, was this made for it, like when it was released, or was this something that was done after the fact using old footage of a performance? But obviously, from the way you're describing it, no, this was something that was made for the release of "Stuck with Me" as a single.
It was, yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah, this did come out at the time. It's I mean it's a cool little video. It's pretty basic, just the band playing in black and white, and then kind of the album cover, the Insomniac album cover, animated a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool. I like
So
seeing all
yeah,
the
yeah, it's a
animation
it's
stuff.
it's a cool little video. So yeah, Stuck with Me. It's the second single.
Mhm.
Geek Stink Breath being the first. Brain Stew Jaded being the third. Second single off of Insomniac. Yeah, definitely like not. I don't think it didn't make waves on the radio or anything. And it's funny because I don't think Geek Stink Breath really did either, but I guess more so than Stuck with Me.
Yeah, which in my mind is also kind of weird because I think that "Stuck with Me," I feel like it's so much more immediate. Like if I were gonna like, okay, "Stuck with Me" or "Geek Stink Breath," which is kind of funny. That's the next song we're gonna be discussing too. It's like,
Yeah.
um, but for my money, I think that "Stuck with Me," I don't know, it's just like catchier. Um, just a lot more like fun. Um, I don't know, but I guess like Geek Stink Breath probably is a little bit more unique. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I think it's much more unique. Like "Stuck with Me" kind of has some of the same stuff that's going on with a song like "86" or like
Mhm.
"Westbound Signed." There's a couple other
Yeah.
songs on Insomniac that sort of have that flow that "Stuck with Me" has going for it. I think,
Mhm.
and "Geek Stink Breath" I think is a little more singular. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I get it, but anyways, for my money, I who it seems like listeners kind of missed the boat on "Stuck with Me" as a single because I think it's a great song.
It's a great song, absolutely. And I mean, maybe if it did well as a single, better as a single, it would be played more often. What could have been, but no, I think Geek Stink Breath actually the chorus I feel like is like more sing alongable to like regular general audiences. Like Stuck with Me. I think Stuck with Me is catchier,
Mhm.
and I think it is like it is more like immediate, but Geek Stink Breath is kind of more easy. Like the chorus is, I'm on a roll. Da, 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 da. Like
Yeah,
it feels
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
easier for the lay listener to pick up on, I guess. But
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, Connor, stuck with me now. We have been stuck with the song for many, many years
Mhm.
since we were wee little lads growing up in Liverpool,
That's right.
going to the Cavern Club. Wait, sorry, I'm getting confused. That was the who was that again?
It's all right, buddy. You just woke up. You've been taking a lot of Painquill.
That was the Beatles. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, not us. I just get just the whole me being John Lennon, you being Paul McCartney thing. I just it's it
Yeah.
I can't. I haven't
I
gotten
know.
past that yet.
I know.
Um. Anyways, Connor, going back into your subconscious, trying to connect to that kid. You say you could just go back in your mind and say little Paul, little Paul. Um, you remember how you felt
Yeah. Wow. You
when you
really are.
first
You really are on something right now. You are. Yeah.
when you first heard this song. So Connor, going back to the beginning, what was your relationship like with this song initially?
Yeah. This one I can tell you really easily. when I was younger, this was my favorite song off of Insomniac. Um, like, period. I just loved it. I just loved this song, man. And I've talked about this plenty of times, but I really remember like being younger, and one of the things I loved about Green Day was like the whole uh I don't know, it's the flow. Like it's like the start stop uh sort of cadence that some more like uh hard hitting Green Day songs have. But it's like this is like the perfect sweet spot, I feel like, for when I was listening to it, because again, we're talking about taking some of the whole start stop edgy uh you know momentum of like punk rock music and infusing it in like a poppier, more immediate, intense kind of like package. And like this is such a sweet spot for Green Day. And for me, when I was a kid listening to it, I feel like Stuck With Me is kind of like the distillation of everything I liked about Green Day sonically. Like strictly just in terms of like the music that they played, I would have held up Stuck With Me as like, you know, almost a perfect example of this is why I think Green Day is cool. I love this sound. And I remember singing along to this song and feeling like so much of the lyrics were like nonsense. And I just didn't care. And I just, it's like didn't care slash didn't understand. But it didn't matter. Like it's hard to describe, and I'm gonna pass it back to you in just a moment. But like I just like so vividly remember listening to this song, and like there's like a feeling of being younger and getting into music and feeling like you can latch onto a song that like kind of perfectly encapsulates why you're listening to a band, or like or what you I don't know, like it's wrapped up in a lot of stuff. I'm like, I would listen to this song and I would come up with like my own anime music videos in my head. Like, and this would be like the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? Like, this
Yeah.
would be like the perfect fucking song to do that with. And so, uh, I just have a lot of like nostalgia and love for this song in particular, because when I was a kid, this was my favorite song off of Insomniac, and it has everything to do with it feeling like the perfect pop punk song to me when I was 14.
Yeah, hell yeah. I totally understand that. And for me, I too have always really loved this song. I really do relate to you thinking like the feeling initially, at least, that the lyrics are largely nonsense, or not really caring what the words are, so like just kind of taking in the whole package, and not really analyzing the lyrics. Like, you didn't even need to do that, just kind of understanding it intuitively, I think. And yeah, you're right. This is a really great example of like Green Day doing the what it says on the tin. Like, this is like punk or pop punk, or I mean, really, just like a really digestible, um quick bite of, like, energy and angst and catchiness that, yeah, I think it's all that you really initially want from the band, in a really concise, and streamlined way. And I think that like for me, like the song, it's never it's only gone up in my in like my rankings or in how I feel about it. I feel like every time I go back to this song, I appreciate it more. It I don't think it was initially my favorite on the record. I don't know if it is now, but it might be. It's certainly up there. Yeah, I just feel like it's once you kind of do feel like you have the ability to like analyze the lyrics a little bit. I feel like it's only gotten better for me, and I think it's a special piece of writing that Billy has under his belt, kind of early on, and maybe even underrated lyrically. So yeah, I mean that's a little bit about me like growing into it with it. How about you, Connor? Now you've lived with this song for many a decade, 5 or 6 decades at this point.
Yeah.
And
And
uh
I've dodged many drafts in
you've
between.
dodged many drafts, blaming your bone spurs, which we both know is bullshit. How do you feel about Stuck With Me these days?
Yeah, I definitely still love it. Um, it's kind of hard to say if I like it more because I guess I like it differently. I hope the message that I got across before was like I liked it in a way when I was younger. Like I liked it in a way that's very endearing for me to look back on because I think it's kind of like a way you can only like something when you're younger. Like when it feels like a piece of art can be like your whole world for for however you're into it, for however um I don't want to say like that's gone, but like there's just like there's a different feeling and a different like perspective of like, understanding the world and like what it's like to come in contact with things for the first time. And yeah, Stuck With Me was definitely a song like that when I was younger. So it's hard to say that like could possibly like it more because like this was a song I feel like I really fell in love with when I was a child. And it's like it's like a kind of love that I don't think can be matched as you get older. Like you
Yeah,
you I don't want to sound like cliche or jaded or whatever, but it's like I do think it's not that you lose it. It's like you I don't know. In my eyes, I feel like I kind of have less reason to feel that way or something. Um that all being said, I still definitely love this song and I do love it differently now. But all those things that I, had said before about why I liked it, musically, none of those things have changed. I've never like looked back on it and been like, this is kind of just too targeted for like a 14-year-old kid. It doesn't really do anything for me. Like I'm driving back home from work today, at my, geriatric age, and I'm still like, man, what a song. Like it still floors me. And like you said, it's really bite-sized. I love none of the songs on Insomniac really overstay their welcome, except for when they do so in a way that's meant to convey something else, like Panic Song.
yes.
Um, but otherwise, it's like every song kind of feels like you just got socked right in the eyeball. And yeah, Stuck With Me is just really excellent for that reason.
This album's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah,
God, fucking such a good album.
yeah.
All right, end the podcast. That's it, guys. It's a fucking awesome album. Um, yeah, absolutely, Connor. I don't know. It fucking thrills me. It's been I don't know. I fucking hate to say it, and I know you're probably not on the same level here, but like I really have so much more fun listening to this album than Dookie. Like, I think it's just like I just feel like I've always had more of a connection to it. And I think that's definitely probably a hot take for some people to hear, but and I think I've pretty much always felt this way. So but it's a joy to listen to, especially in these dark, troubled times. I mean, and there's an element about this song too that I mean, lyrically, we'll go into the lyrics in a little bit, but like I mean, there's a little bit of like we're dabbling in the political just a little bit here.
Hmm.
Um, which is this song about the monarchy? Yeah, maybe, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, I it's just it's a really it's a really cool piece, and yeah, I it does exemplify what Green Day can do, and just fucking ass kicking. Yesterday when I was at my seeing my grandparents for Father's Day, somebody asked me like what kind of music I was into, and I it's like, do you guys don't know what the fuck? Do you know me at all? I
Yeah.
said I said rock and roll music, baby, always and forever. And then my grandma, she was like ass kicking music, right? I was like, yeah,
Yep.
ass kicking music. And this is exactly this is the definition of ass kicking music.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what that reminds me of. Diving in a little bit deeper here, Connor. We can start. Let's just start with the guitar,
Yeah.
the
Let's
driving
do that.
force of the music here.
Let's do it.
This this is like such a Billy riff,
Yes.
such a Billy '90s riff. It
Yes.
is. It's God. Like the chord progression and the strumming pattern, and
Yeah, man.
it's like so signature. It's like Billy Joe's signature riff. You can
Yeah.
you can almost tell right away that it's Billy Joe.
Yeah. I don't know if you could see this, but I wrote on my notes, I put now this is a classic Billy riff, but it's
Yes,
a classic 90s Billy riff.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
it's like I was thinking like because we've already been talking about this as we talked about Insomniac. Like, what is a classic Billy riff? And it's like this is total classic Billy riff, but it's also not a classic Billy riff. Like, oh, this would be on 39 Smooth, you know,
Exactly. Yep.
or
Yep.
if it was on 39 Smooth, you know, it would not have like the same. It would not be this song, like I
No,
could kind of see this riff as something else, and the guitar would be like really scratchy and
it would
but
have some like little embellishments
yeah,
or
right, you'd have
open
like little
notes or
pinch
something.
harmonics, right, and
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is all just, and it has like that. We've been talking about the guitar tone too on Insomniac, and like how subtle but distinct it is from everything else that came before it, even from Dookie. And it's like, listening to this, like the guitar has like this like lower, grungier sound to it. But it just feels like it just like tears through everything at the same time.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not cutting you off there, but I
No,
felt
not
like
at
you
all.
were just like really onto something, and I was like thinking the same thing.
Yeah. No, totally on the same page
Classic,
here. Yeah.
classic, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like it's funny because it's like it doesn't even it's not even something that it wouldn't even be played the same way or fit entirely in on like Dookie, but it follows on from that lineage like so organically that it's like you can tell you can tell it's the same guy who is playing on She or having a blast,
Mhm.
or Burnout, um it's we're all looking at this from the rear view here, but
Yeah.
I really would imagine you're familiar with the singles in the '90s. You hear Basket Case and Longview and She on the radio all the time. Then the new thing comes out and you hear Stuck with Me, and you're like, oh, this is Green Day. Like
Right.
I can just imagine like that opening riff happens on the radio and your ears perk up like, oh, this is the new Green Day. Like that's
Yeah.
just and I don't think that Geek Stink Breath has that immediacy to it.
Right. I agree. I
Um,
agree.
yeah, so it's just like God, I mean, just effortlessly Green Day. And yeah, I want to dig into the guitar tone a little bit more. Like it's you're right that it does have like the grungy-ish like kind of more. It's kind of a more yeah, like a nastier distorted guitar. Like it's and I mean it's I think a lot of that is owed to like the darker and we're we probably sound like idiots saying oh it's in a minor key and then where people are going to be like no it's not.
Right.
It might,
Right.
I don't know. We're musicians only in spirit,
Yeah.
and
True.
in reality, a little bit. Yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah, we do play guitar. Do we know what any of these words mean? No, not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Not really. Um. But yeah, it's like a darker angle on what Green Day can be, but still immediately Green Day. So yeah, I mean you're right, and I think it just sounds so good. And like the mix is perfect for this guitar. It's upfront, in your face,
Yeah.
um, but doesn't drown out the rest of the players.
No. Yeah, it's kind of amazing because it feels like it'd be so easy for us to be talking about the same thing that we had been on even some tracks off of Kerplunk, some track well, not Kerplunk as much, but like on Dookie, too.
Yeah.
Like there's just times here and there where it does feel like the guitar is so in your face that's like, well, there goes the bass,
Yep.
until the bridge or whatever. It's like, sorry. Um, but it's like that is still, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record because I've said the same thing now 3 tracks in, and we're going to keep saying it.
We
But
will.
it is kind of amazing, to thread that needle between having the guitar feel as powerful as it is, and yet not losing the other performances in the track here. So it's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I just really dig um Billy's playing. Like you're right, it really does kind of all comes down to like Billy just has this signature sort of like strumming pattern, and this song is like it's so satisfying to like listen to the guitar because the like his transitions to like these different power chords, it just like feels so clean and like I don't know, the it's like that. I don't know. Like sometimes I listen to this song and like I can imagine like Billy's hands moving up and down the fretboard, just like
Yes.
playing these power chords. And it's like there's like such a clarity and such like a kind of like perfection in the way that he's playing it that it feels like you can like literally visualize his performance. It's like it's captured on there. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really think Rob Cavallo, I don't know, he tapped into something really, really amazing with it on the production of this record. Like he is just so fucking locked in. Like I mean, he just knows just exactly how to record this band at this point. Like Dookie sounds amazing, and again, this is us repeating ourselves.
Mhm.
But Dookie sounds amazing, but like, God, he knows just how to capture every element perfectly here. Uh, I mean, really, like it's. I think the album itself and the instrumentation seem so simple and so stripped back that it's easy to forget just how locked in and fine tuned everything actually is, and just how
Yeah.
impressive that is. Um,
And on that simplicity too, it's
yeah,
like talking about the guitar. I mean, There's basically just 2 guitar parts.
Yes.
It's like it's the verse and it's the chorus, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And then, the whole bridge, obviously, you really just get the bass and the drums.
Well, and you get it's like a scratching.
Yeah, right. Um, and so it's like another I think another worthwhile repetition is just how straightforward this song there's like no fucking frills. And I think that's part of why it feels so hard hitting, and it feels so immediate like to the listener. It's like this song is not doing anything else. This is like a straight shot. It's like distilled punk rock straight into your veins. And I don't know, it's like why would you want it to be anything else? Why it would be such a mistake to try to expand on this. And so it just feels like another opportunity to kind of be like, man, I just really appreciate like the restraints and like the understanding that it seems like all the members, yeah, Cavallo included, like everyone is kind of just like there's such like a fine-tuned, like sharp point on like they know exactly what the feeling should be and how this should sound. And yeah, it's like everything else is just like whittled away until it's just this like razor's edge. And I think that's like why it
Yeah,
just feels so good.
exactly. That sums it all up. Um, you did mention how clear the bass is here, and I know there's a people sometimes say, "Oh, save the best for last," but I can't. We have to. I want to jump into the bass here.
Yeah, we should.
I want to talk about the fucking bass. We mentioned there's some high points at the bass for the bass guitar in both Brat and Armitage Shanks, but we're talking about how there are many bass moments on this record. I think this is really the first like wow, Mike is fucking firing on all cylinders here. This is
Yeah.
just classic 90s Mike, little dirty moments thrust in here throughout the song. In my eyes, it's a classic Mike performance. What do you think about the bass guitar here?
Yeah, agreed. Um and like it'd be very easy to just go straight to the bridge because obviously he has a really standout front and center moment there. But obviously, if it's going to be a high watermark for the bass on an album like Insomniac, there's got to be a bit more going on. And sure enough, there is. I really do love, it just starts off the intro. You get that iconic Billy riff, of dan, 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 dan. But like Mike has these like springy little notes just coming in and out. And he's had moments. I remember talking about songs on Dookie where it feels like he kind of like pops in and out, but it's like such a fantastic dynamic between what Billy's playing and what Mike's playing. In my eyes, it kind of feels like what Billy's playing is elevating the bass in a way more than like Mike elevating the guitar. Like the guitar doesn't need any help, but it's like if you were to like just isolate the bass, I think you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cool, right?" But
Yeah.
then like you play the bass over the guitar and suddenly you're like, "This is a godlike bass performance. How does he
Yes.
fucking know,
I know.
to be playing this shit?" So it's just like such a great, like 1-2 kind of punch like yeah, I really love it. And if you listen closely, you could tell there's a lot going on because what he's playing in the intro, um, it's it's a lot more clear and a little more unique than what you get elsewhere in the song. And then even in the chorus and on parts of the verse, like what Mike is playing, he's not just following the guitar, quote unquote, really anywhere on the song. Like he's doing things that it feels like it weaves in and out of the guitar. Like he'll be, again, like using the term following the guitar. Like obviously we're talking about kind of like matching the rhythm and the and the notes of that Billy's playing.
Oh, you're a musician.
The roots. You know what I'm saying? But like I think what really makes this work so well is it feels like if the guitar is a straight line, then Mike is kind of making this like S in and out where like there's like these pockets where they're both in tandem side by side, and then like Mike just kind of splits off, has his own thing going on in the background for 10 seconds and then like comes back in. um and that's all without talking about the bridge. So yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's a great point about the guitar kind of elevating the bass. I think it's one of those cool examples we have, because usually we have the rhythm section where it's Mike and Trey kind of bouncing off of each other and giving each other like moments to branch off and do their thing. But here we get that with Billy and Mike, which is really cool because you're absolutely right. Like Billy's guitar part, iconic in itself, and like I mean, really, that's all you need for like a great Green Day song,
Hmm.
but like he gives Mike this opportunity to like there's these pockets kind of built into that riff where like it gives Mike permission to just kind of go off
Yeah.
and do his own thing and like create it's not a counter melody, but you're right, it's like it branches off, it's like a side quest or something, it's
Yeah.
like a little,
Yeah.
it's yeah, like Mike's own mini adventure within the song. And it's moments like that it's just like the like Mike can really shine and do cool things. And yeah, I think I love what he's doing. You're right that he kind of does his own. Yeah, it's kind of like they're walking along the path together, and then Mike kind of, imagine it's in Lord of the Rings, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
we're reading or watching Lord of the Rings. We got the hobbits. The hobbits are walking through the woods for a long time. It's actually they're just like in the woods forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Too long,
they're
some might
like
say.
when are you gonna get out of the woods? And then like what's the fucking guy's name? Pippin.
Yeah.
Pippin just goes is Mike Pippin or is Trey Pippin?
No, I could see Mike being Pippin.
Mike
Yeah.
could be I mean, well, no, I guess you would have Billy as Frodo and Mike is Sam.
Yeah.
But no, anyways,
And
but
then
in
and
this
then Trey is Pippin and Mary. Yeah.
Trey is both Pippin and Mary.
Yeah.
But anyways, in this
Maybe.
example, Mike is Pippin. He's going off in the woods. He's having his adventures with the fucking tree guys or whatever. Then comes back into the fold. Like it's kind of like that. I don't know why I have Lord of the Rings on the brain, but that's
It's okay.
that's that's what I thought.
I still think it's all the pain quill that you took that is
It's
that
the
is
pain.
causing these
It's
things to happen.
100% the pain quill.
Although
Um,
then again, I mean, so if Billy's Frodo, it does feel like Mike would have to be Sam,
he would
right?
have to
Like,
be Sam.
he
Yeah,
would have to be Sam. And so, really, maybe it would be Trey's Pippin, and then Jason is Mary. I think maybe
Jason could
that's
be
actually
Mary.
what they have going on.
Yeah,
Like,
or I mean, in this
Jason
case,
gets the Hobbit slot, so
yeah, he gets a Hobbit slot. He is in the video that for Geek Sync Breath, Jason. So I mean,
yeah,
Rob could also
I can't
be
believe they pulled
Mary.
his teeth out.
I know, I know. They
Right?
did.
You were saying Rob could be Mary?
He could be Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, folks, write in.
Although, I'm sorry. Actually, wouldn't Rob kind of be like Gandalf?
Oh, Rob. Yeah, Rob's definitely
He's
Gandalf.
like the wise. He's guiding the hobbits,
He's
really.
guiding the hobbits. Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, Rob is for sure Gandalf.
Yeah.
Connor, I think we go back to Trey being both Mary and Pippin. That's how it
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
That's how because honestly, he has enough personality to be both of them.
It's true. He goes back and forth. You know,
He
there's
does.
there's a, there's a little bit of Mary and there's a little bit of Pippin in that guy.
Yeah. Anyways, we've been tiptoeing around this instrumental part, this bridge, which essentially is kind of just a bass solo.
Yes, yeah.
Like we have this breakdown where the guitar is scratching and the drums are just kind of stuttering, and we got just a cool fucking bass solo, which God, it's such an awesome moment in the song.
Yeah, it is. I was kind of I was like kind of going back and forth. I was a little bit of like Mary on one hand, Pippin on the other. I was like, is it a bass
Yeah,
solo? Because
I mean,
it just
here's the thing, Connor.
I don't want to be pedantic about it, you know, but
The
I was
the
kind of asking
boys,
myself.
the hobbits, the
Yeah,
boys in the band, the hobbits in the band would never call it a bass solo.
yeah,
Maybe they would today, but in the '90s, Connor, they wouldn't be caught dead calling it a bass solo.
right. Yeah, good point.
They'd say, "No, this is a bridge,"
Right.
which it is. But I mean, really, like, I don't know.
No,
It's kind of a bass solo.
the only thing that I was like kind of hesitant about is because it feels like there's not enough almost like because it's just bum 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 bum, you know, it's just like ascending descending, it's like the same thing twice. I don't know, I don't really know what makes a solo, but I kind of feel like it's like too structured and too repetitive. But you can have a really simple solo. You can have a solo that's just like two or three fucking notes. Sometimes just one note. So simplicity
Actually,
shouldn't be what makes a solo or not. But I am a little bit on
yeah.
the fence with this one.
Well, that's exactly the point that I was going to bring up. Is that, like, we can find examples of like bit like the "When I Come Around" solo on guitar, like, is more simple than this. Like, so can guitar solos be simple, but bass solos can't? Like, I don't know where the line there is.
Yeah.
I do agree that there is a bit of a it's in a bit of a gray area. But I think it would be fine to call it a solo. It's at the
Yeah.
very least solo-ish or solo adjacent.
You know what I
Um,
do like about it regardless, and whether or not, you know, you may personally feel like it's a solo or not, it does still like fit the place of a solo. Like we were kind of saying like, ah man, you know, this song, you know, this is an Insomniac song through and through. This would not be on 39 Smooth. And if it were, then you'd have a solo here.
yes.
Um
Yes.
and so I it does kind of like fill that role regardless of the technicality one way or the other. It's just a really awesome way of breaking up those last two choruses and giving the song just a little more variety and charm, but like without sacrificing any of the momentum, you know. And you know, this, I was saying before, like there's no frills on this song, and I stand by it. You know, it's like I wouldn't cut this shit out to tighten it up. It's like I don't think this is a frill at all. I think that this is like a necessity. This is like a support beam
Mm,
that makes these last two choruses work, you know.
yeah.
So it's just really excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, definitely above a frill. I think it is essential to the song. As we know it, like, the song could be done in different ways. I think it would be lesser. I can even imagine what the solo would be like if it was on 39 Smooth,
Hmm.
but this is like the perfected version of the song, and we are lucky to get it. Connor, let's jump into the drums a little bit. The drums here are, I mean, I think there are cool moments, and Trey, I mean, I mean, my kind of takeaway is that, I mean, Trey really is just playing a supporting role here and
Mm.
does a great job doing that. There's cool things, but they're always kind of in service to what the other guys are doing or what the song is doing as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um it's always that like uh every Trey performance is phenomenal, but
Yeah.
yeah, this one it definitely is more propping up what Mike and Billy are doing. The one thing I will say is like I had already mentioned this song takes advantage of a lot of like start stop sort of structure and momentum to give it like this really uh like not a sprint, but it's like, it's like when they say, if you really want to punch someone or whatever, it's like you gotta bring your arm, you back, and then you rotate when it's like there's a way to like increase the impact in a
Mm,
in a short, and I feel like that's what Trey does on a song like this. He makes the parts that would already hit harder,
yeah.
um and like because the guitar has like some of these very very quick jerky kind of stops, or like at the end of the chorus before it goes into the verse, it cuts out for that brief half second, like all of those like very very like tiny moments of like nothing of like calmness in a way is not only punctuated by like the explosion of the drums, but also like it's the drums that has to stitch these things together, like because I think otherwise it could feel like a little jerky or stuttery in a way, if you catch
Yeah.
my meaning.
Yeah.
And I think it's like Trey's drumming that like serves as the way for like all these things to coalesce, because it's not like it's a complicated song, but um I think it's drums that make it feel like there's like a natural sort of driving force throughout the whole song, when in reality there's a lot of moments of like very very brief sudden immediate stops, you know and it's kind of all like either invisibly paved away or like made to hit 20 times harder because of how Trey's playing, and so you get like that big range of dynamics that makes the song feel really cool too.
Yeah. In your opinion, Connor, does like that strategy of like twisting your wrist, pulling back your like, does that work for punching people harder? Just in your experience, I just want to know.
Yeah, yeah. Every time I like pretend to hit someone and I just like punch the wall, it
Yeah.
hurts my hand a lot harder when I do that. So I think it
Yeah.
must work, right?
It must. It's yeah. You know because it hurts so bad. Like the wall. Like
Yeah,
there's not
right.
even a dent in the wall,
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
you've heard that before, right? That's
your
like the
knuckles
proper
are.
way to.
Oh,
That's
yes, I've heard. I
yeah,
have heard that. Oh, and I've
yeah.
got experience. I have
Of course you
experience
do. Look at you.
in. I mean, I've experienced in
You're an animal.
people telling me about that.
Yeah.
Um, once I take this painkiller, you don't even know what I'm capable of. All
No,
bets are off.
honestly, I would not want to get into a fight with you under
No,
these circumstances.
no
You're gonna
way.
be just pummeling me in the face, talking about Lord of the Rings the whole time. It's gonna be
I'm gonna be like, we're gonna be like Frodo and Sam at the
yes,
on the mountain
yeah.
duking it out.
Mount
Um,
Doom or Road Ruin.
yeah, yes, indeed.
Come on.
Um, Connor, any other thoughts on the instrumentation here before we jump into the lyrics?
Yes, super quickly. I have to point out Trey's one in the second verse when Billy sings "Throw me back into the gutter." Like, my ears always perk up because Trey is at that point is like only playing like these lower, you know, deep bass
Yeah,
drums there. He's
yes,
not he's not hitting any cymbals or hi-hats or it's like I always come back to like these rolling deeper kind of drums, that and Trey just for like those 4 seconds That's like another part I feel like he really highlights with his drums, and I love it every time. So I wanted to give it a shout out.
I forgot to mention that. You're right. Yeah, there's some great, along with the dynamics and the stop start that you mentioned. Like there's Trey does, momentum building really well in this song. Just briefly, like you only need a few seconds of it, but it's very effective and just like punctuates the heavy hitting nature there
Yeah.
really well. Um, Before we jump into the lyrics, let's just I mean, I guess we could just talk about Billy's vocals or, just briefly.
Yeah.
There's not I mean, I don't know what to it's I feel like it's everything meshes so well together that like I just feel like it's a really great Billy Joe performance. I don't have any notes on it really.
Hmm.
The melody is fantastic. The performance is great. Like the chorus, there's little teeny bits of harmonies there, like that are just like that's kind of part of the chorus for Insomniac. It's all kind of understated and uh mixed together. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Billy's vocal performance here?
Yeah. Just a little more, I think. Because I kind of get what you mean. Too. It's like kind of like no notes. What do you add? And we've talked about like sort of like the distinctiveness of Billy's singing on Insomniac already, and it's like this song like definitely still capitalizes on it, but I do feel like I'm maybe coming up a little short on what to add, but I do think like for the chorus specifically, like that whole call and response kind of like you're saying, like, yeah, you get like those brief harmonies, but then like Billy just singing the second part to each of those lines, buried in a hole, forcing me to fall. It's I don't know, maybe all I can do is point to it and go, there it is.
Yeah,
Because just yeah, there it is. It's if you
exactly.
don't get what we're trying to talk about when we say that, then go back and listen to the song, I
And
guess.
then listen to it again.
And then listen to the podcast again.
Then the podcast again. Then the song again.
And
Then the
then
podcast in reverse.
and then write us a 5-star review
Yes,
on
thank you.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify or whatever, but mainly on
All
Apple
right.
Podcasts. Go do that.
All right. Stay punk. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no, I mean, it is no notes. That is what Rob Cavallo said to Billy Joe in the studio that day when Billy recorded his vocals. He said, "Billy, my boy,
Yeah, because
no
he's Gandalf,
notes."
right?
That's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What is Do you think Rob Cavallo treats Trey like Gandalf treated what was it? Yeah, Pippin.
Yeah, he's
You
just
fucking idiot.
right. Hates his guts, and
Yeah,
then eventually grows to love him with a
I
deep
could see
fondness.
that. I could kind of see that being the trajectory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe so.
Um. All right, Connor, you want to help me out with the song?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you start this one, I think.
Oh, I start this one. Why don't
Yeah.
I know that? Why do I know that? Okay, it goes like this. Just tell me the words I
Words
might
I
have
might have
known.
known.
The
The
words I
words
might
I
have
might have
known.
known.
The
The
words I
words
might
I
have
might have
known.
known. I did a little bit of a different thing there at
Yes,
the end.
that's right. Yes, you did. Going off on your own little side quest, buddy.
There we go. I feel like a little bit like Pippin today.
Yep. Yep.
Slash Mary.
And I guess it's kind of appropriate that I'm, a knight. It's very fantasy-esque.
Yes, you are Strider,
Yes, that's right.
aka
You did
aka
I know you're trying to get me to say his name because you only remember Strider. That's funny.
what? What the fuck
That's
are you
cool. You don't
talking about?
remember his name.
What
That's
are you
cool.
talking
You don't remember his name.
the well,
Yeah.
he's always Strider to me, so
He's
that's
okay.
all.
Yeah, right in my heart, he's Strider. But
In
he's
my
really
heart, he's
Aragorn.
Strider.
He's Aragorn. Come on.
Aragorn, yeah, I know.
I know.
I just didn't know if
You
you
were about to
remembered.
say, I know.
I didn't know if you remembered his name.
So
Connor,
words I
on
might have
this,
known.
yeah, on this song, any lyrics here that you were wrong about?
Yes. So only in the first verse. The chorus and the second verse I had down. And the first verse I knew mostly, but in the middle there, after Billy sings class structures, waving colors, and then he says, bleeding from my throat. Did not know that.
Oh wow.
And then the very end of the first verse, downclassed by the powers that be. Also, not that one. So those were like parts where I would just like fill in with my own Billyisms, because I knew when to jump back in and what I knew. So like those two lines, I always kind of stumbled my way through, but I could sing the noises. That's why I say Billyisms, because it always felt like I was singing along, even when I
Yeah,
wasn't really.
definitely.
But those lines were cleared up to me looking at it now, and everything else I knew.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, I think there really anything on Insomniac is not. I don't think it's going to be a surprise when either of us say, "Oh, I didn't really catch that line," or "I didn't really know that line" just because of how the vocals are produced and performed. Um, but for me, in this case, I there's nothing that I didn't know or wasn't familiar with, and I don't know if there ever was. I mean, I'm sure at a certain point there, but I've had these bad boys locked down for quite some time, I think.
You know what I will say is this is a song that I remember looking up the lyrics for. And I
Okay.
can't say I remember like, oh, was I looking at the booklet or was I like I don't have a vivid memory of like literally the moment I looked them up. But like I remember like my memory is of having to figure out and like read the lyrics and being like, oh, class structures.
Yeah.
That's what like I have a memory of like the aha moment of like looking at the lyrics when I was younger. And like, that's pretty much how I like know or have what I have down from the song as it is. Like I remember that and just being like, oh yeah, class structures waving colors. That was like not clear to me when I was a kid. And I remember like the realization when I read it. So
Yeah, I I imagine I kind of went through the same thing where I there probably was a point where I looked them up and had a moment of realization.
or you know what else? The other thing that's kind of funny that I remember is I remember you singing along to this song, and at the end of the second verse, when Billy's singing "Find another pleasure fucker, drag him down to hell," I remember like hearing you sing along to that and
Okay.
going like, "Oh, that's what he says." Like I
Nice.
remember like learning some of the
Yeah.
lyrics just from listening to you too, and like that's kind of all wrapped up into this song.
Yeah. That's really funny. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Kind of what so for the lyrics themselves, what is your interpretation of like what this song's about?
Okay. I think the song is about um pretty much being like I think the song is about like being like on like the under the fucking boots of society. I think
Yeah.
this song is about like saying like yeah, I'm at the bottom, like I'm part of this humongous, global throng of people that are like the castaways and the refuse of society, we're the losers, but it's by design. I
Mm.
think the song is about saying, like, yeah, I might be a loser, scum, piece of shit, good for nothing, whatever, but the cards are stacked against me by other people. If I am this thing, if I really am at the bottom, it's only because someone else at the top set it up for me to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's pretty clearly there. You're right, and for me, I imagine that part of it is because this is them, right after their breakout smash hit album where they were propelled to the national stage, and I that gives them power and pull, but they're like very new. And I imagine, obviously the Green Day from 95 is very different from the Green Day of 2025, where they're the people in power now. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Here, I imagine there's plenty of people at the top of these companies, whether that's like record labels or MTV or radios, that they're kind of, I'm not like saying that they're like the underclass, so they're famous musicians now. That's not the case, but within this industry, within this machine, they are in a vulnerable position where I'm sure like there's like plenty of different people with different motives, like trying to manipulate them and to get to do get them to do things for their own ends. And there's an element of this song, uh and also like when we get to Panic Song, where it's like kind of like this all this shit sucks. I'm out. I'm done. Like I just want to jump out of this. You know, throw me back into the gutter because it's all right. Find another pleasure fucker, drag them down to hell.
Mhm.
Um, so I think there's a part of that in this song. For me, I've always felt like it is, yeah, always it's always related to me, or I've always related to it, like really identified with it, just because like I don't know, like feelings of inadequacy, or like that, yeah, you're not yeah, you're not the one of the elite, one of the powerful. You are being thrown around by all these forces that you have no control over. And
Right. You've just found yourself in the position where those powerful people finally have an interest in you
yeah,
for themselves.
totally, totally. um yeah, so I think that's kind of a breakdown of the song. I do want to touch on just a little bit, like, I mean, there's the first verse. We have class structures waving, colors bleeding from my throat, and then downclassed by the powers that be, give me lots of hope. Um, like for a long time, I never really thought of this song as political in any way. Um, Obviously, the narrative here is, oh, Warning is the band's political awakening here. I wanted to get your thoughts on this, because there does seem to be a little bit of a seeding of uh, I mean, a little bit of an awakening to the idea of class consciousness, a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that's there, and that's like where my take on the song was coming from before, where it's like, Billy um has already written songs, about sort of being on the fringe, of society, or feeling like he's othered or outcast, and he's gonna go on to write about it like even more and like way more explicitly. That's something that like takes up more room in his head, I think, like as time goes on. And so I always sort of like took this as, like Billy not just sometimes he sings about it in a fun way, I guess is what I'm trying to say, you know, where he's like, I'm the underdog, you know, but I feel like on a song like "Was Stuck with Me," you know, it's not just about him being that person. It's about like this awareness that like there are systems, you know, built around me that
Yes.
like create this consequence, you know, like I'm not just this thing, just because I'm some snotty fucking punk. I think that he's like, oh well, it's also like where I was born and how much money my parents had, and everything that's happened with my family, and like all these like different dividing lines. um uh Yeah, you know what I will say too, though? I don't know if you want to jump off of that, but I kind of want to talk about your point quickly too, which is
Yeah, go
that,
for it.
that has like historically and even now been my understanding of the song, but you saying like uh that this also is can be read as a commentary on like uh you know their place within the music industry at this time.
Yeah.
Even though we have talked about how Insomniac is an album that like deals with the fallout of Dookie's success, and that like the record is like very much reactionary in that way, I've never thought of Stuck With Me that way. And as soon as you said that, there were a couple things on here that I felt like clicked right away, that again I always took as like sort of like very general nebulous kind of like political societal commentary,
Yeah.
like I'm not subservient to you. I really thought that that was just a whole, stick it to the man kind of
Sure.
deal. But if you consider it from how you were thinking about it, it's like, I mean, he could be talking to the record label. We're talking about Warner
Sure.
Brothers, right? It's like
Yeah. Mhm.
this is like suddenly, Billy had been used to making albums with Lookout, and uh by all accounts didn't have any problems, with that, because obviously with an indie label like that, it's like it's a completely different dynamic. This is like collaborative, boots on the ground, DIY kind of shit. And now
Yes.
they're in this huge system. And the other thing that really you kind of cracked my skull open a bit, I never was sure about this line in the first verse. Colors bleeding from my throat. But that line sort of feels like, like Billy writing about how his artistry, which comes out as writing lyrics and singing them, obviously, it's being taken advantage of. Colors
Yeah.
bleeding from my throat. I
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
thought about that as like, is that Billy writing about um him feeling like he's hooked up to the machine? Like he's been writing songs his whole life about trying to process his own like, mental instability and figuring shit
Yeah.
out, and suddenly, you know, he he's kind of in a position to be hooked up to the machine, and it's like, well, whatever song you write, whether no matter how personal it is, no matter how much it matters to you, if you release it through this system, ultimately there is someone within that system who is waiting for you to create so they can benefit monetarily.
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
and so it's like I think Billy's sort of thinking about like his singing as like this, blood coming out of his mouth in a way. And I've never ever thought about that.
Yeah. That's a great interpretation. I mean, it makes it makes a lot of sense. I think you're onto something there for sure. I hadn't thought of that line in that way directly either, and I think that's a great take. It just makes me think too, and again, like we've mentioned this before, but like there's this dreaded cursed second album, where obviously this is not the band's second album, but it's the follow up to their breakout success, where like things can go wrong. A band can really, they can blow up in terms of popularity, but they can also implode, you know, and like Nirvana that happens to, obviously, tragically. They sing about a lot of the same things on In Utero. And then Weezer's Pinkerton, like
Connor,
they,
just I was
they
gonna say, just look at your shirt. Aren't you wearing a
yes,
Weezer shirt?
exactly. I know they
Yeah,
turned into this. No,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, Weezer's Pinkerton, and they don't. Weezer doesn't break up. Well, they do break up briefly, but they go away for a long time and come back a very different band. And like we're just so lucky that the machine didn't end up like winning in this case. They didn't chew them up and spit them out. Green Day wrestled with it, and they found a way to live within this system. You know, they didn't like defeat the monster. They didn't defeat the dragon. Back to the Hobbit. Um,
Good one.
but they learned to live with it, which is interesting. Connor, any other lines or anything you want to mention before we move on to the next segment?
Um, I think the lines that we mentioned, I are the ones that have always stood out to me. But this is kind of another one of those songs where I think it'd be really easy to kind of go line by line and just be like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying how lyrically you felt like this was kind of a really impressive outing for Billy. And I think that like initially I I was sort of like, is it like, to me it feels kind of unassuming because the song is as like fast paced and kind of like bite sized in Billy's delivery as it is. It's like um but I think that he packs a lot in here, and as we're talking about, like, more than I've considered. I think this song is like more dense than I had like realized before. It's like a neutron
Yeah,
star. It's tiny, but it's massive, and
definitely.
there's probably a lot in here we could discuss. I guess I just want to give a shout out to the chorus because I think it gives this really it really gives this sense of like isolation. Like I always really feel like Billy's like in that hole when he's singing the chorus, and I like that it feels like the chorus kind of has this inversion to it that's like really playful but really kind of insightful because within the verses Billy keeps repeating, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right. And then the last line of the chorus is, I know I'm not all right. And it makes
Yeah,
all the other all rights kind of feel like, like he's trying to convince himself. And then like it gets to the chorus and he's like, nah, I can't hold it together. Like none of this shit is all right, actually.
yeah. No, I mean you're right. I mean, I definitely agree with you that it's like very it's kind of a very dense song once you dig into it, and it is presented as a very like a quick burst of punk rock and roll. And so that's kind of what what when I say I kind of grew into it, or I like, it feels like there's so much more beneath the surface that I can really I can take away something different as I grow with the song. And things like that are great examples of it. Just working new things out with you live on the podcast. I think that's really cool that that you can do that with a song like this.
Yeah,
Um, all right, Connor. I'll start this next song, and you can help me with it.
here we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Warning, live without
Have we heard
warning.
this song? Have we heard this song?
Connor, have we heard the song "Stuck with Me" by Green Day live in concert?
Well, Connor, I was wrong last time. I was pretty embarrassed.
The past 2 times, I think.
Past 2 times. Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Past 2 times. And the thing is, so far I've heard all of Insomniac live because I've heard Armitage Shanks, I've heard Brat, and now the question is, 3 songs in, have I heard Stuck with Me? And I'm like, if I've heard Armitage Shanks and I've heard Brat, then I kind of feel like I must have heard Stuck with Me. But then I'm like, I'm always kind of like questioning my memory. I'm like, do I remember? Can I actually think of a specific individual memory, a time when I actually heard Stuck with Me? I really wish I could because Connor, I'm going to say, I think I have.
You think you've heard this song? All right. Well, Connor, you're wrong.
Wow, I'm 3 for 3.
You're 3 for
I'm
3.
3
You're
for
blowing it.
3. I'm 3 for fucking 3. Oh my fucking god.
You're blowing it, buddy.
I should
But
have
no, I
listened to
mean,
my memory with
I
no with
know.
no memory of it, but
I know.
it doesn't help me
I
with the
mean,
other ones.
no, I mean, I think in your position, I would have done the same thing because I would have been like,
Yeah,
well, I'll go against the grain this time, and
exactly.
because I've been wrong, I'm gonna do the opposite of what my memory says, my heart
And here I
says.
am, still wrong.
Yeah. So Connor, you have not heard this song live. I have heard this song live. But I didn't remember. I wasn't sure if I had until looking it up. I heard the song at Irving Plaza in 2012,
Wow.
which was an incredible show. I do remember hearing it live. Um, yeah, that was rad. Yeah, that's an awesome. It's an awesome live song. I think I do think it's a damn shame that they have they just really don't play this song live. I guess they played it at the Harley Davidson Homecoming Festival in 2023. That was the last time they played it, but it's been very sporadic, like just a handful of times in the 2000s.
I told you we should have went to the Harley Davidson Homecoming Festival. You didn't believe me.
I know you told me we let's just bike up there with our motorbikes.
Yeah,
We'll make the whole trip of it.
we're just gonna hop on
Uh,
the hog, go out
yeah,
into the
hop on
open
the
road.
hog.
You know.
You told me I could sit in the little carriage of your bike. You can drive us there. It was a tempting offer, to be fair. Maybe next time we can actually make that
Yeah,
happen. Do it for the podcast. Um. All right, Connor. You ready to hear it from the anti-social media?
we are.
All right. So for this one, Connor, like I was not impressed by the comments to this song.
Hmm.
I We'll see how you feel, but I really felt like there were a lot of duds. I was
Okay.
disappointed.
Okay. Let's see how we do.
To start off, I think we're going to jump to. Okay, so this one, uh, to preface this, we haven't mentioned this yet, but the name of the song stuck with me. That's not there's no lyric that uh says the title. Stuck with me is not mentioned in the song at all. And the folklore behind it, the story is, there was a mislabeling mistake where there's a different song that was meant to be named "Stuck with Me," and they labeled this song "Stuck with Me" incorrectly. They ended up sticking with it, naming the other song something totally different, "Do Da Da," which we'll be covering eventually. Um, so this is someone who's honestly, kind of most of the comments are like people saying, "Oh, did you know that this song was originally
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Oh,
wasn't called Stuck with Me?" And
I
then
hate that shit.
everyone's just like, "Yeah, we
Right.
knew."
I know. It's like
There's
everyone just wants to they have their one little trivia fact.
Yeah.
It's just like when I see this all the time with Dune fans. Because like there'll be like a new Dune fan. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm just getting into Dune," and they'll be like, "Did you know Paul's the bad guy?"
Oh
And it's
my
like they did.
god.
It's like, did you even let them read the book?
That's so fucking annoying.
And it's. I mean, what a stupid take. Paul's the bad guy. You're wrong about that too, by the way.
Yeah,
So
this
whatever.
definitely Insomniac kind of is like the Dune Messiah of Green Day in a little
Yeah,
in a way.
actually, yeah, I could see that for sure.
So the Hyper Shadow 7126 from 11 years ago says apparently the song was going to be called I'm All Right, but someone accidentally put Stuck With Me on the label when Stuck With Me was the title to Do Dada. So they changed the title to Do Dada to avoid confusion. That's why the song is called Stuck With Me, even though the phrase is never in the song. And this is an example. I could be wrong, Connor, but I don't think there was ever a confirmation of like what this song's original title was.
Hmm.
I don't I think it might be it feels like it's a presumption that it was called I'm All Right.
Right, because that's just a bad title for a song.
Yes, that's a very generic dumb uncreative title. And then that's pretty much what the comments are. They're saying like, oh, what's your source for the original title? And I think there might be a little bit like it might have been like a temporary title would have been all right. I've seen that pop up a few places. I just don't think it's ever really been confirmed. It
Right.
seems to me as one of those myths that is it just keeps on
Yeah,
popping up.
that's what it feels like. I could see it as a placeholder title, and
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe that's part of what led to the whole actual song title confusion. But with a band like Green Day, I don't think they would have landed on just "I'm All Right" because they'll just have like Trey or Mike like name it some weirdo fucking thing that doesn't have anything to do with the song
yeah,
anyways. They don't care. So why would they leave it as something as generic and boring as I'm all right? I think
totally.
I think you know, it's it's a mystery.
It is. Yeah. Um, Next up we have Gianil's Fig Gianil Figaro Cruz 304 from 3 years ago. They say, all in caps, I am also 40 years old. I remembered when this album came out. I was at school. I loved it. The song and I are aging well. I
I'm
just
glad that they include that they're aging well too,
I know I was gonna
Yeah.
say I love that he's like complimentary about himself. He's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually kind of a silver fox now.
Yeah, doing pretty good,
Yeah.
all things considered. Yeah, no, good for that. Good for them.
And it just that it was in all caps. It's like you're 40 years old, but you're like you're typing like you're in your 60s,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Um, the wonderful Blake from 4 years ago. Blake says, Mike and Trey are phenomenal musicians. Period. Not to say Billy Joe isn't a good guitarist. For what he does, he's proficient, and his singing and lyrics are always great. But in terms of musicianship, Mike and Trey are just fantastic.
Hmm.
What do you think about that? Billy Joe is just proficient.
I feel like if you like just listen to Stuck With Me, like I could see you coming away with that, like, oh yeah, 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 because that's kind of like what we were talking about in a way, like in terms of like what I think like their skill set kind of brings to this song. But but just like zooming out to like what everything else like Billy does and has shown he can do, you know, either within their discography or performed live, you got to be off your rocker, buddy, because Billy Joe is a damn good guitarist.
Yeah, he's a terrific guitarist. I mean, maybe one of the best guitarists in punk rock, but he he holds back. I mean, he doesn't he's especially in the 90s, he's not showy.
Yeah.
Um and again, the same thing with Rivers Cuomo, one of the best guitarists in rock and roll, but is very only shows off his skills when he needs to.
Hmm.
So it's a common misconception. This one's about the music video. This is from aw674 underscore from 1 year ago. They say they should colorize this for Insomniac's 30th anniversary. Like it's a fucking film from the 60s or something.
Yeah, right. This was like shot back in the 1880s, and they just couldn't.
Before color was a thing.
Yeah, yeah. They couldn't. They would have shot it in color, but they didn't have the
That's
technology.
so fucking funny.
even though they had all the color parts for the
Yeah,
album animation.
I know.
No,
Yeah, the color of the album, yeah, the cover and
yeah,
all the previous videos are in color. Like, I just think it's like this is either like a very young person or a dumb person. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. It's always that's usually the toss up on the internet. It's like, how do you know?
Yes, I mean usually both, honestly. Uh, Next up, we have Drag Viralis, 1658 from a year ago. They say, wait, this song kind of class conscious as fuck.
Wait, it kind of is.
Kind of is.
Kind of is. And you know what? Wait, this song also kind of music industry commentary as fuck?
Yeah, this is
What?
like this is like woke AF.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The
Uh,
one singer-songwriter who's too woke,
yeah,
you know?
the original wokester,
Yeah.
you could say.
Billy Woke Armstrong.
I like it. All right. Alex versus the World 4646 says, I now know what bath salts are like listening to Green Day.
Hmm. Like they now like they haven't taken them, but they feel like by listening to Green Day, they know what it's like to have taken them, or like Green Day introduced them to bath salts.
That's a good question. I think it's like the listening to the song has the same effect on the brain as taking bath salts. They're assuming.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the maybe that's all we've been trying to say this whole time without realizing it, Connor. That this song is like taking bath salts.
Yeah. I mean that could be it.
And you
I
like
mean,
trying new things. Maybe next time instead of pain quill, you know?
yeah. We could both take bath salts and try to
Yeah.
record the podcast.
Yeah. I'll take a
I think
bath, you take some salt, you know?
I think you have to be in Florida to do that.
Yeah.
We got a couple left here. Next up we have Neil Hamande 2427 from 2 years ago. They say, all I can see is sitting in a room playing SNES Mario Kart with too many people in too small a room on too small a TV.
Hmm.
So some good memories, I guess.
I wanna like this comment more than I do because you know, I'm a gamer and it feels like they're just like, "Yeah, what a cool memory." Like, we keep saying like, "Oh, imagine if you listened to this when it came out instead of, you know, us just seeing the whole discography as it is." Like, imagine when Insomniac was new. Like, what was that like? This person's kinda offering, you know what it was like? It was like sitting down and I'm playing Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, and like they were just this was just playing in the background. I think that's kind of sick.
It is, yeah. No, I mean that's an awesome memory. And you got Angus. Angus just came out in VHS. Insomniac just came out. You're playing SNES. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, two more. Matt rocks Tonic from 14 years ago. Matt says, "A pretty mess. Insomniac is Billy Joe's diary of my life on meth. It's pretty blatant, I believe, and it is powerful. Great album."
Yeah, you know, this is another thing I've heard a lot before. Like Insomniac is the meth album, you know?
Yeah,
Um and like you know, there'll be like performances, like any like footage of like Billy performing and him looking like tweaky or weird. All the comments are it's kind of like the same thing we were just saying. Like all the comments, like, did you know this song was called Stuck With Me? Like
yes,
it's like all the comments are always like, oh, just look at him. Like, you know, Billy was just zonked out on meth the whole time. And honestly, like I I just don't even know if that's true or if this is I think this is like somewhere between like the truth of yeah, like you know, Billy took meth and then also like the stories that we tell ourselves as fans in order to kind of uh you know, create a narrative out of like someone's life and someone's body of work. And I think people are just very quick to be like, this is the meth album.
Yeah,
and it's just, you know, it's a lot of things. It's, you know, but a comment like that, it's like just so reductive, and to
absolutely.
me, it kind of just like signals that I don't think that they're thinking about the album at all. They're thinking about what another fan has told them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like a rock and roll mythos building kind of thing where it's the same way as like, I'm sure on the comments of the Beatles, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, it's like they all an LSD. You know the
Yes.
song? It actually means LSD. The
Right.
first letters of
Yeah.
all the words, LSD.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing. I think it happens, repeats throughout rock and roll history. It's like this these big myths that perpetuate. So I obviously the drugs played a part in the 90s, and meth was certainly, I think, one of them. We used to call it speed, but now it's crystal meth. So they were speedy boys a little bit back then, I think. But I do think we vastly overestimate the influence it had and the consumption in the 90s. Um, Last but not least, we have Cool Bo 12 from 12 years ago. Cool Bo says, "You're the only potato I know that can type, which I find amazing. I applaud you, magic typing potato."
Hmm. It's just weird because like, so it's like, but the commenter is typing, like, it doesn't sound like it's the potato that's typing this comment, because then what,
Yeah,
they're applauding themselves and referring to themselves
there's
in the second person. It doesn't add up.
I don't know. There's no context. Maybe they are talking about somebody else. Maybe it's a just they meant to reply to somebody. I couldn't find original comment, but if they're talking about themselves, I think that's even funnier.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're the magic potato.
I don't quite get it in any regard. It's just a
Yeah.
bit of I think it's some of that, like, it's everything circles back around, because this is either like a really really lame, cringy millennial humor, or it's kind of like sort of like like the modern day incarnation of that, which is like the quirk chungus, you know.
Quirked
Um,
up Chungus.
it's all the same shit at the end of the day, and I have nothing else to say.
Or maybe they're just on crystal meth, man.
Maybe, yeah, you know
Wow,
what?
you're
That's
smoking.
probably it.
You've been smoking a lot of meth, man. If you
That's
think you're
got
a
to be it.
potato.
That's got to be it.
Uh, Connor, who do you think wins comment of the day?
Okay, I'm between the all caps guy who said "Me and the Song is aging well" because I think that's kind of charming, and the person who had the Super Nintendo Mario Kart memory. Can you give me a tiebreaker between those two if you're in agreement at
Yes,
all?
I can. I do agree that those are probably the two best comments. And as much as the the SNES one was heartening, and I just feel like I you know I think we've talked a lot about this 90s nostalgia, and I think I'm there for it. But I think it's a rarity that someone's saying, hey, I like this song sounds great in the modern day, and you know what, I'm doing pretty great too.
Hmm.
I think that's a real rarity, and it's nice to see somebody actually talking about I mean themselves in a positive light. And Connor, you and I as elder men, I think we need these positive examples in our culture of you can still live a full life at this age.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, very soon, I'm only going to be able to type in caps. I can already
It's
feel it
happening.
happening to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's happening.
it's
For a long time, you could only type in lowercase, which is
that's
a
right. Yeah.
millennial. That's a millennial affectation.
Yes, it is.
It's going to flip around very shortly for you.
Yeah, no, it's like the inverse polarity, you know. It's
Yes,
it's it's the reversal of the magnetic poles of the planet Earth. It happens to everyone at some day.
that's how it goes. That you it's inevitable. So for that reason, Giano Figaro Cruz 304, congratulations, you win today's episode. Please contact us in any way. you can to redeem your prize. Connor, any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Yeah, this was a cool one. I was really looking forward to this discussion because, as I had already said, a whole bunch. This was my childhood favorite. Um, you know, not to spoil it, but I don't know what my favorite is, but I do feel like it's changed since then. And so like it's cool to like get to gush about this song because I feel like it really deserves it. And I like that it feels like we kind of uncovered some things that are even more interesting about it that I hadn't considered before.
Yeah.
And it's like I kind of wanted to give it like its victory lap in my mind before eventually at some point as we go through our album discussion I go, "You know what? I think I got a new favorite because I feel it creeping up on me. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
give stuck with me, you know, one more longing look in the rear view. A song I'll always love, but a song that I think is firmly a childhood favorite. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think it's a triumph. It's the real deal. It's the whole package. So, cheers to you. Wait, Connor. Cheers.
That's
Water
right.
cheers to Stuck With Me.
Cheers.
Here's to you, Stuck With Me. Folks, thanks for tuning in. As Connor mentioned before, if you like what you heard, you can go to Apple Podcasts and give us a nice 5-star rating and a glowing review. We would love that. You can go to Spotify and give us a rating there as well. Follow us on social media. We are at Green Dudes Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at greendudespod@gmail.com with your great story. Next week, you can look forward to us talking about geek, stink, breath. But most importantly, folks, until next time,
Stay
stay punk.
punk.
Hell yeah. Goodbye, stream.